gonna blow your mind. I'm telling you right now, prepare to have your mind blown. Alright? Prepare. This video is talking about how to be more charismatic, how to be more magnetic, how to become that person that is just like you would effortlessly attract professional, romantic relationships, both relationships, improve relationships, improve mental health, well-being, the way you carry yourself, the way you feel about yourself. And not only that, just a certain type of confidence and charisma that is embodied through how you carry yourself. And the concept that I'm going to teach you guys is the concept of high status. The concept of status and high status and low status. Now, when I say high status, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? Let me answer for you. I already know. Lamborghini, supercar, Rolex watch, luxurious lifestyle, designer clothes, diamonds, all that stuff. Now, that's usually what most people's first thought of what high status is. Why is that? Because that's basically what advertising companies have brainwashed us to believe what high status is, because this is how they get us to buy things. This is how they get us to buy luxury products. This is how they get us to buy Gucci. Luxury brands get us enticed to buy their products because they have brainwashed us to believe that we can gain status by buying their products, by wearing a Gucci logo on your shirt. There's a belief system that is what creates a person's status in society. Now, clothing, car, lifestyle, at some degree that can create a facade that someone is of higher status. Even you being in a higher position in a company or in a business, like that can symbolize high status. But the truth is, status is something that you can't buy. It's not something you can buy. In fact, status has nothing to do with external qualities, and it has everything to do with the essence of a person. Status has everything to do with the physiological makeup of a person. Essentially, how someone carries themselves in the world. That is what determines a person's status. That is really what status is about. And you have to understand that human beings are status-driven creatures. We're status-driven creatures as human beings. Human beings, we operate in like the social hierarchy. It's a social hierarchy. We are hierarchy creatures. Whether we say it outright, subconsciously our mind is constantly seeking to understand what the status levels are of people. We're all doing this to each other at all times. And one in part because this is something that I believe I've read through the research that we've evolved to be this way. Because we have to determine threats. You know what I'm saying? Especially like a woman. Research has shown that women judge a person's status as a way of like how they want to date them. That's basically the whole concept of being like a ladies' man. A guy who's good with women, a man who's good with women, or someone who's very popular, is that they have this high status demeanor about them, their essence, the way they carry themselves, how they communicate. All of that communicates high status. Now, understanding that this is something that is physiological, it's biological, it's part of being a human being. And not only human beings are status-oriented creatures, but also lions are status-oriented creatures. You know what I'm saying? The lion, the king of the jungle. And chimpanzees, you know what I'm saying? The silverback gorilla, he's the I don't know what they call that, but like he's the king of the tribe in a certain way. You know what I'm saying? So we're status-driven creatures in so many ways. And so how does that reflect you being a charismatic person? How does that make you more magnetic? How does this understanding? Well, when you understand the concept of status and how powerful that is and how that plays and how people view each other and how we respond, you can start to improve your charisma, your magnetism, how likable you are as a person. All of this can be improved in your life when you understand the concept of what status is as a human being. and you understand that status cannot be bought, and it's not something that you can wear, it's not something you own, it's what's in you. Status is what's in you, not on you. And this is what people don't understand. They think status means, you know, 1 million followers or nice clothes and Gucci and luxury. This is what people are programmed to think what status is, but it's not. So the first thing I want you to envision is, what is the definition of high status behavior in your mind, and what is the definition of low status behavior in your mind? What do you see what do you envision? Imagine a high status person. What is a high status? How does a high person who believes they're of higher status internally? This is their self-image. They're a high status individual. How do you think they carry themselves, as opposed to someone who has this belief that they're a low status individual? Well, people with higher status, imagine they probably walk with their chest out a little more. They walk with their chest out. Better posture. When they walk into a room, you don't know how much money they have in their pockets. You don't know if they're someone of massive success or someone who has little to no external success. All you see is a person walking in with great posture. Off the rip, the mind, when you see someone like that, automatically the mind it's a switch in the mind that says, okay, this person is higher status. And it's like a split second of judgment, and it determines how people treat one another. It's wild how it happens, and it changes everything when you understand this. And then imagine what a low status person, how they carry themselves. Imagine a person who has a paradigm of a belief system that they're of low status. How do they carry themselves? How do they talk? Don't even think about what they wear, what type of, I don't know, financial situation they're in. Don't think about any of those things. Ask yourself, how does a person who believes they're low status, how do they carry themselves? How do they think? How they act? You're probably going to assume that this person has poor posture. Their confidence isn't, maybe they don't speak with tonality that's confident. Maybe they sound a little weak. Maybe they sound not sure of themselves. You know, without them even saying a word. Maybe they walk a little slower. Maybe they're a little shaky. Maybe they're very quick with their movements. They're not calm and cool and collected. Now, when you understand this is what you can start to understand and be able to understand the science behind the concept of status without thinking about, once again, external factors. It's just literally 100% about physiological aspects that make someone higher status. It's about how one carries with themselves, how they speak, how they think and view about themselves, who they are. It doesn't matter where you could be living in a tent, but you could have a high status paradigm. You know what I mean? And it all comes down to how you carry yourself. And so, once you understand all this, it's a game changer, because this is what makes everything so much easier. Rather than trying to become more charismatic, but you have a self-image of someone who's low status. If that's your belief in your brain, but you're trying to be confident, you're trying to be charismatic, at the end of the day, you're going to be trying. And anyone who's trying, it's like imagine someone who's trying to sing. Someone who's trying to sing is different than someone who's just singing. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you just feel like, you know what, even if it's not even that good of singing, you can still get into it. Even if it's karaoke, you can have fun. But if someone's kind of trying to get the notes out, it's like they're not even actually doing it. So the first thing you gotta understand is that we must adopt a high status self-image of ourselves, regardless of how much money we have in the bank, what kind of clothes you wear, designer clothes, what kind of car you have, all that, throw that all out the window. You can't buy status. People try to buy status all the time, but you can't actually buy it. You can't buy it. You may be able to wear nice clothes and drive a nice car, but after a while, your self-image will catch up to you. You will be back acting like a low status person. So we want to, no matter where we are in life, to become more charismatic, you must adopt the mentality of a high status individual off the rip. And a way to understand and envision a high status energy is to ask yourself, who is somebody who's a public figure, maybe a movie character who embodies high status just by the way they act, the way they carry themselves. A lot of times people think of James Bond, Tony Starks, characters like that, right? In the movie Iron Man, Tony Stark is the epitome of high status. Now, he's obviously a billionaire. He's like a rich, successful businessman. But just look at the way he talks and carries himself and acts. Like, his movements are more smooth. He's calm, he's cool, he's collected. He has a tonality about him, like this self-assuredness about how he speaks and communicates. A lot of people may think, well, it's because he has all these nice things, but you know, in this world today, like, you can acquire all of these assets, all these connections, which I'm gonna talk about in my story, how I gained connections with people, like famous artists in the music industry, influencers, YouTubers, and I didn't even realize it, but you know, a lot of my life, I've oscillated between a belief system of thinking I was lower status and thinking I was higher status. And not knowing that this can be controlled by understanding the concept of it and being hyper aware of how I'm carrying myself, how I'm entering a room, how I'm introducing myself, how I present myself with my body language. All of this can be 100%, I would say, manipulated and controlled. And when you understand this, being charismatic becomes so much easier. So the point that I'm driving home is the concept of our actions, our words, our beingness, how we carry ourselves. It all stimulates from a self-image that we have about ourselves. And so if you think you're a low status person, you're gonna act like a low status person. And so one of the things a lot of people struggle with is the concept of act your wage. You don't have as much money in your bank account, so you shouldn't act confident. You need to act your wage. It's bullshit. Always carry yourself as a high status individual no matter where you are in life, no matter where you are at in life. That's the number one thing to realize. Another thing to go into is that the understanding of status is that human beings, we essentially are hardwired to judge a person's status while we're talking to them, subconsciously or consciously. But a lot of times it's subconscious of how we view someone. We will subconsciously view this person high status, the same status as me, or lower status, or are they just a high status individual? You don't have to think, you don't have to see them with money, car, it's just how they're walking and carrying themselves. Wherever they are in life, whether you see them outside in the street, you can literally point at people. Maybe that person's you can see from someone across the street, somehow that person looks high status. They're walking with their chest out. They're walking like they have somewhere to go. You know what I mean? There's a certain energy about them, as opposed to someone who looks low status. What is a low status signal? Maybe they're walking a little more hunchback, moving a little more slow. Maybe they're very like shaky. Their tonality is weak. It's all low status signals. And so once you understand that, you can start to uproot your own low status signals. Like, what are you doing to signal that you are low status in the world? And all of status is so important. We don't realize that a lot of the success that we have or lack of success we have is all determined by how people view us and how we're emitting our level of status in society. And we don't realize that. And there's even studies that show how like deep it goes with like people who have a higher status belief system. They typically make like profound amounts more money than people who have a low status belief system. People who have a higher status vocal tonality in business typically make more money than people who have lower status, even if they have less expertise or experience. It comes down to how they're carrying themselves. And when you understand this, you can start to essentially like flip the switch in real time and change your life and change how people respond to you, essentially by the way that you're carrying yourself. And so a lot of times people think to be more charismatic, they need pickup lines and they need the right questions to ask, and they need all these things, all these tips and tricks, but at the end of the day, it has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with what kind of person you believe you are, what status level do you believe you are. And the real true exercise is, from here on out, if you're working with me, you have to adopt the mentality that you are a high status person. No matter how much money you have, no matter what kind of car you drive, no matter what clothes you have, you're a high status person. You're a person of high status. That's who you are. It's who you are. And I would challenge you to say, why would you, like, for people who are like, well, I don't know if I should do that. I don't know if I should think like, let me ask you this. Would you rather be viewed as someone who's low status? because the detriments of being somebody who believes they're a low status person and carrying yourself through that can literally basically be the downfall of your life in a lot of ways. It's losing jobs, maybe getting lower positions, maybe not dating the woman that or the spouse that you want. They even say so much that even the concept of status and how people socially align with each other is all about, is this person going to raise my status level or decrease my status level from an external perspective? Women truly are like, something women are even more status-oriented creatures, because people who are of higher status throughout history are people who were stronger and they survived longer, and they were more like, they had more power in the tribes. They were viewed as somebody who was more respected. So women are a lot of times more attracted to people who carry themselves with a sense of higher status. And you don't even have to have a lot of money to think like that. You know what I mean? Not even talk about money all the time, because I just keep saying that because people link that. But it doesn't matter where you are at in life. If you adopt that mentality, you can become more of an attractive individual just because you view yourself that way and you carry yourself as a high status person. Now, as I do more videos, I'm going to get more in depth on what are high status signals for a person, like for your how you carry yourself and how you move throughout the world. But the first thing is understanding this concept of status and what you're communicating and sub-communicating. Sub-communication is basically like, it would probably be like, I don't know the percentage, probably 70-80% of communication. Sub-communication is basically all the words that we're not saying. It's everything that we're not saying. We sub-communicate so much that a lot of times people are reading body language and how someone is carrying themselves without even hearing the words that they're saying before they say words or how they're saying the words. This is how people are judging people. And people make snap judgments subconsciously. They're viewing how people are communicating, how they're presenting themselves in the world. All of this dictates on what level of status you view yourself as. And so, examples of moments of where high status and low status were literally playing apart from each other. Even during the presidential campaign, or not campaign, but during the debates, it's like a famous actually story about John F. Kennedy and Richard Nixon. During the debates, I believe it was in the 60s, famously, they filmed the debates. I think in the research, I got to redo some more research, but I think this was like the first time they were really filming these debates. And when they put Ronald Reagan on television and John F. Kennedy on television, Ronald Reagan had actually was favored more in the polls in the beginning. But when they saw them both on camera and they were broadcasted to the American public, people saw Ronald Reagan he was sick that day. Famously, he was sick, but he was kind of like pale skin, like he was kind of like sweating and just fidgety. He didn't exude high status. He was exuding low status behaviors, even though he's running for president. In that moment, society saw him as someone as lower status, standing next to John F. Kennedy, and in those moments, John F. Kennedy looked young, strong, charismatic, self-assured. All of it came down to how he presented himself. And sure enough, he won the presidential election that year against Ronald Reagan. And that was basically in part to the fact that people were more gravitated to John F. Kennedy because of the way he moved and carried himself. And so you see this at play and how it affects our worlds, essentially, because we as human beings, in a lot of ways, we're humans, you know what I'm saying? But the way we're biologically hardwired, in a lot of ways, there's certain things about us that are animalistic, things that are like judging survival and how we view people and how we assess threats in our external environments. Threats doesn't always have to be like a violent threat, but seeing how we address and view people. We view people like almost how animals do, snap judgments. Whether we want to admit it or not, we do make snap judgments about people, and a lot of times we do these subconsciously. We don't think it consciously, unless like maybe someone's clearly displaying low status behavior. But the people who succeed in business and in dating and in life in general, when you really study it all, and from my own experience from being around people who were, I'm just studying success and charisma and confident people throughout my life, even my father, like, there's certain things about him, he exudes a certain level of high status about himself. And it really all comes down to how you view yourself, your self-concept, your self-image, what you believe you deserve from the world. You know what I'm saying? Like a certain energy. It's like the je ne sais quoi. But we can actually pinpoint it. It's not that difficult. You can watch movies and be like, yo, that person's a high status person. Start to recognize it. Start to pay attention to how people carry themselves. Start to see low status behaviors and point it out. Start to ask yourself, when you see people, is that person exuding low status behavior? Are they signaling low status? Just start looking at people. Does that person exude high status person or behaviors? It doesn't matter if you're in a freaking luxurious hotel lobby or you're at a 7-Eleven. The cashier at 7-Eleven can be exuding high status character traits by the way he, hello ladies and gentlemen, how you doing? Yeah, I'll be out right now. How's it going? How's your week going? There's a certain vibe that they carry themselves. High status signals. And so I want to reiterate, we want to embody the philosophy that, not embody, but know and believe already that we are high status people. We are people with high status. Status has nothing to do with things you buy. You can't buy status. That's what advertising is trying to brainwash us, because they want us to buy Gucci shirts and buy Ferraris because they think that they want to program us to think we can buy confidence. But it's something that we must learn and embody, and it's all about the concept of status. When you understand that, it makes it so much easier to start to reframe your behaviors, how you communicate, how you introduce yourself, how you move, everything about you. It all stems from the concept of believing and understanding that you're a high status person. This is what's going to get you better business connections. It's going to get you better romantic partners. It's what's going to help you make better friends. It's going to help you basically create a self-fulfilling upward spiral, basically help your life improve. My life has already improved dramatically since I've adopted these belief systems. I'm like, wow, I never knew that there was a difference between the two. And I feel like in my life, I used to struggle by oscillating back and forth. And I realized, now that I know the difference and I realize the importance of it, I'm like, wow, maybe this is something that, like, in some way I gotta be like really focused on. You know what I'm saying? To truly embody this fully. And so a lot of people, they don't understand that. But when you really start to understand this, embody this is what's going to make your confidence, your charisma, your magnetism so much more effortless. You're not gonna need to try to do these things. It's just gonna be something that you naturally start to exude through the belief system that it's who you are. And then in a lot of ways, you can start to practice carrying yourself as high status. An exercise you can do is, I said this earlier in the video, but an exercise you could do is start to ask yourself, okay, what does a high status person walk like? How do they walk? And how does a low status person walk? When you're walking through a store, when you're walking, to the mall or walking wherever you're walking, ask yourself, am I walking low status or high status? Do I look high status or low status? Ask yourself so that you can prepare yourself, present yourself, improve your posture. You know what I mean? Walk with a little bit more of confidence, like it just exuded. The more you embody it through your behaviors, the way you carry yourself, and you act as if, the more you will start to send the signals to your brain that that's who you are. And from then on, everything else starts to become so much easier to start to fall into place. And then you can start learning little tips and tricks and little things like that. But the first thing is to start at the self-image, the concept of who you are as a human being. You have to start at the concept that you are a high status individual. You are a high status individual. You are someone who's loved, liked, respected, appreciated. You're somebody who's easy to love. You're pleasant to be around. Doesn't matter if you have 1 million friends or one friend. Believe that you are a popular person. Just believe it. Just understand that's who you are. That is what's going to give you so much more confidence, because understand your actions, your words, your thoughts, your belief, who you are, your essence, how you carry yourself is all preceded by your self-image and the concept of who you think you are and who you think you're not. So this is how we can start to become more confident and charismatic. It's the self-image of a man or woman who believes that they are high status. Another thing I want to leave you with is I want you to start brainstorming celebrities, public figures, people who are that you maybe movie characters who exude high status. I want you to do some research, go on YouTube and start watching some videos. Maybe pull up Tony Stark in the movie Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr. Watch how Iron Man carries himself. Just little things. Start to just see. You need to picture it, visualize it, understand this concept. Because the more you understand that it's a science and it's a self-concept, you'll be able to throw out this idea of needing luxury goods and millions of dollars and a fucking baller lifestyle and all these external qualities to create this self-image within yourself. It makes it so much easier because now you're not held back by this belief system, this limiting belief. It limits a lot of people. A lot of people are held back because of maybe the type of clothes they have, the business that they work for, the position they are in a company, just their lifestyle. They're held back by that. And these external qualities are basically telling them how they are supposed to believe about themselves. And people are controlled by it every single day. And we're all guilty of it. But when you wake up to this, you start to realize that you have the power to change this. You don't need to act like the clothes you wear. You don't need to act like the money in your pocket or the position. You don't need these things to start with this foundation. Now, a lot of these external aspects can be icing on the cake, but the core foundation is the self-concept, the image, starting at the belief system that you are automatically someone of high status. And that's what's going to affect the way you carry yourself, how you talk, how you communicate, all of it. How you introduce yourself, how you ask for things when you're at a restaurant. You know what I'm saying? How you ask for something at a grocery store or something. You know what I'm saying? It's going to all exude in how you move and how you carry yourself. And it's amazing how it's impacted my life. It's impacted my life so much because I never knew that in a lot of areas of my life that I was carrying myself with low status, and I didn't realize that. And what happens is it creates a self-fulfilling prophecy. When you have the belief that you're a low status person based upon how much money you have in your bank account or the type of clothes that you have or don't have, a lot of times what will happen is it will lower our self-esteem. It'll have us carrying ourselves with less confidence. We won't feel like we deserve good treatment. You know what I'm saying? Or I guess I would say like high status treatment. We won't believe that, and what that does is create a self-fulfilling prophecy. So, hi Bridget, how's it going? So, appreciate you for stopping by. I'm actually about to hop off in the next couple minutes, but I'm gonna basically wrap up what this whole video is about, and maybe this can help you. A lot of times people struggle with this concept of being charismatic, confident, and it's affecting their ability to create new relationships, maybe professionally. Maybe they're struggling in their dating life. Maybe that's affecting a business. Maybe they're not making as much money. Maybe they're struggling to get a new job. Maybe there's a lot of things that's holding it back. And really it all comes down to how we view ourselves and how we believe the self-concept of who we are. And one thing that humans don't understand is the concept of status and what status means. Because we've been brainwashed to believe that status is an external quality. We think that status is cars, clothes, designer shirts, and all these things. But status is actually a belief system that a person has about themselves, and the signals that they are communicating to the world. And human beings, we're status-oriented creatures, so we're constantly picking up and assessing these signals. Always constantly, especially in dating, with men dating women, especially with teaching men how to improve their dating. A lot of times, the reason why a lot of men struggle to date and attract women is because they're communicating low status behavior, and their just entire beingness. And it's basically a very anti-seductive trait. And it doesn't matter if men or women, everyone it can be affected by this. And when you really understand the science behind how human beings create and pair relationships together, you start to learn that human beings are essentially status-oriented creatures, and we align with people based upon the benefit that they will have upon our status. Will they improve our status or decrease our status in how the world sees us? Now, again, external qualities, it's kind of like there's certain things where there's certain nuances that, maybe nicer clothes and better living conditions can improve your belief about yourself. But to start off, to fully 100% become more charismatic, we need to embody the self-image of a human being, of a person who is high status. Believe you're high status. Believe it and disregard the concept of needing external qualities to make yourself high status. That's the first concept. So we need to understand the belief system that we are high status individuals. I'm a high status individual. Now, that sounds kind of cheesy. It sounds so cheesy. It sounds cringy to say that out loud. But we need to start saying that to one another. This is for as far as coaching goes. This is the belief system. And once we start from there, everything else can be learned and understood because we're starting from this belief system. When you're starting from the belief system that you're a low status person, the paradigm of a low status, a person who believes they're low status, you can't teach them charisma because it's like the brain isn't like the belief system, the identity of a low status person. It's like there's a ceiling. They can't, and charisma is like here. Charisma and magnetism is right here. This is the ceiling of low status. It's low. The ceiling is low. They believe they're low status. They can't access those personal skills. They can't access it because it's above the ceiling. So in order to crack through the ceiling and have that charisma, you need to break this limiting belief that you are a low status person, and that's what it will allow you to acquire the ability to be charismatic. It's really what it really is, and it's that belief system that you are someone of status. 100%, no matter where you are in life, no matter what you have in life, the first thing we have to establish is that this is who we are. This is who we are. We are high status individuals. You know what I mean? Because when you really believe that about yourself, you start to create a self-fulfilling prophecy. A person who's a higher status, they believe that they deserve the best of the best. They believe they deserve the best partnerships in business and relation and in their personal lives, their love life. They believe they deserve the best seat in the house at the restaurant. So maybe when they show up to talk to the host, they're like, oh, what kind of seat would you like? First thing you say with a big smile, give me the best seat in the house, baby. What's the best seat you got? It's just certain that you'll just automatically say that confidently, even though if it's kind of a tongue-in-cheek, you're serious at the same time. It's yeah, you believe you deserve good. And when you believe you deserve the best, we attract the best. A lot of times people don't believe they deserve the good out of life, prosperity and great relationships and all these things because of the self-image that they have of themselves. They have this subconscious belief or conscious belief that they're a low status individual, so therefore, how could they deserve the best of the best? How could they deserve the best loving relationships and the best business? It's like the belief controls what you believe you deserve, and all that is going to literally link itself to your actions and how you move and how you carry yourself at the end of the day. So status is all about how we view ourselves, the self-concept of who we are as a human being, and how we carry ourselves, our beingness, our essence. That is the game. And when you understand that, you'll understand how to be charismatic. You'll understand how to have that je ne sais quoi, that it factor, that star power, that energy, that magnetizes people, that gives you the ability to public speak, whether you're a musician, an artist, an entrepreneur, the ability to captivate people and sell people on who you are. The ability to sell people on who you are comes from this ability to be sold already from the jump on who you are as an individual and what you bring to the world, being sold on yourself. A high status person is sold on who they are, and they're constantly selling themselves on themselves every day, and they're constantly reminding themselves of who they are and who they want to be. In terms of prosperity, in terms of improvement, in terms of constantly elevating. This is the game. Because when you are sold on yourself and you're sold on who you believe you are, excuse me, people will be sold on who you are. They'll be sold on you. You know what I'm saying? It's like something about that person's vibe. The way they carry themselves. They have this sense of certainty behind their words. They have this certain sense of confidence. It's not a fake confidence. It's not a fake bravado. There's a certain confidence about them that is likable. I'm sold on them. You know what I'm saying? Even if they may have certain flaws, maybe that person could be cocky, a little bit cocky. But you still gravitate to them because they're sold on what they're doing. Anything that you're seeking to do, whether that's get a better job or date a beautiful woman or get the man of your dreams or run for president, you have to be sold on your essence. You have to be sold on who you are before the world will be sold on you, before that employer or that girl, that guy, or America, if you're running for president. You have to be sold on yourself. If you're an inspiring artist, musician, rapper, writer, you have to be sold that what you're doing it's the best in sliced bread. It's this thing, it's this it factor. And I think what prohibits people from doing this, one, is because they're viewing this from the paradigm of a low status person. Well, how can I carry myself like that? I don't think I should carry myself like that. Maybe because they have limiting beliefs around the fact that, this image they have of themselves, and they have this belief that, I'm not allowed to do those things. I'm not allowed to think that way of myself. And that's one of the number one things I would tell anybody is give yourself permission. Give yourself permission to be the version that you want to be, the best version of yourself. Give yourself permission. Stop waiting for society's permission to tell you, okay, you can be confident now. You can believe in yourself now. You can be sold on yourself now. Now we can that's waiting for external validation. So many people are waiting for external validation, and this is why people are living in quiet desperation, because it's like this feeling of waiting for the world to tell them that it's okay, you can believe in yourself now. High status people, they don't wait for the world. Kings and queens, before they're knighted, they crown themselves, ladies and gentlemen. You crown yourself. You believe this about who you are, and this belief is going to create the actions, the words, the tonality, the body language, the swag, the charisma, the magnetism, all these qualities that make somebody fucking dope. You know what I mean? Somebody that can sell products, someone that can pitch themselves, whether it's a business opportunity, whether it's talking to someone that they're attracted to and attracting them to them and being more seductive with their energy. It all comes down to having this understanding, the self-image that they're somebody special. They deserve greatness. They deserve everything that they want. They deserve it because they're a high status individual. This is just who I am. Self-image is so important, ladies and gentlemen. I'm telling you, this video, I'm telling you right now, change your fucking life, yo. Change your life. Because you probably never thought of these things. I'm pretty sure a lot of you haven't thought of any of this. Or if you thought of it, you haven't thought of it to such a degree where it's like, oh my God, I see it now and I can understand how to apply it. And I'm going to teach you guys more and more how to apply this. And I'm going to keep drilling it home because we have to keep drilling in the idea and the concept that we are high status individuals. Especially if you're somebody who's struggling to, become more charismatic, or maybe you're struggling to open up. Maybe you're an introverted person. Maybe you struggle with dating. Maybe you struggle with business and getting opportunities. Maybe that's affecting your mental health. Maybe you're not making as much money as you believe you deserve. Maybe you're not selling products that you think you should sell. Maybe you don't have the spouse that you believe you deserve. It's all of these things. And a lot of it stems down to how you're viewing yourself. A person of high status believes they deserve the best of the best from life in general. A person of low status does not believe that. And so automatically off the rip, whether you have to lie to yourself, you need to tell yourself that you are a high status individual. You're a high status individual from here on out. This is who you are. And there's no going back. And if you think about it, why would you go back? Why would you go back? Research has shown that animals who are in I don't know what they call it, like a tribe, or I don't know, a pride or a pack, the animals who like monkeys, or I don't know what other animals are more hierarchy like that, but in monkeys, if they're chosen or treated as low value, low status, these animals typically die sooner. They get more diseases. they do not mate, so they're not able to spread their genes, and they basically kind of like they're not as strong as the animals who are actually like viewed as high status in the actual tribe or the pack of animals. I'm butchering this, but they actually they don't live as long. And human beings are the exact same way. Human beings who believe their lower status, lower confidence, it affects their belief about who they are and how their health. It affects their health. It affects posture. It affects how they invest in themselves, where they have self-love and self-care and self-respect. It's like a fucking crazy iceberg of how it affects every area of your life. And I know this because I've been in positions where you can only imagine like the rooms I've been in, where I've been in around people who very successful people, or people who are becoming successful, or people who knew successful people, just through connections, and just seeing the difference between how they carry themselves as opposed to people who carry themselves as a low status individual. And people maybe even who believe themselves of higher status may have had less money or less connections or less financial resources, but something about their energy made them somebody that was just more charismatic. They were able to get into rooms more with cooler people, but because of the way they carried themselves. Cooler people, I would say, you could say cooler people, maybe more connected people, maybe more successful people, more higher quality environments as far as like the opportunities that are available in those rooms with the type of people that are in those rooms. It all stems down to having this je ne sais quoi that stems from the high status. It's the difference between, walking into a Ferrari dealership and looking like someone who has money and who would buy, rather than someone who just, you could tell, is like a window shopper who would never buy that car and who could never buy that car. But there's something about how you could walk in and communicate that you have that money just by the way you talk, by the way you move. You know what I'm saying? And I know this because I've seen people do this, and I've done it myself, not with cars, but like just opportunities where I was like, yo, like, let me just go check out this house. Let me go check out this opportunity here that I know at the moment it's a little bit outside of what I can pay at the moment and invest in. But I'm gonna walk in here like I have all the money in the world to invest in this moment in this product or service. And it's such a difference in how you're treated and how people talk to you and how people it's wild, man. And I like talking about it because I believe that once we understand this, it could change so many people's lives. And I think one of the hurdles that a lot of people have, there's two hurdles. One is the concept of status. They're so brainwashed on this concept of needing a Gucci shirt, needing a convertible, needing like a luxury villa, needing $1 million, needing like having millions of followers on social media. They're either stuck on that and they still think status is that. We have to debunk the concept of what status is, and we're doing that. And then two, the belief that they could become that. Maybe there's someone who's a little bit older and they think, I can't learn anything new. Or maybe there's someone who's just their whole life, for the majority of their childhood, they've always been someone who just wasn't popular and they just felt low status and they didn't feel like they could change at all. One thing you have to understand, another thing to understand is that through research and through just understanding neuroscience has literally found that the brain is plastic, meaning as in it is malleable, meaning as in you can mold your mind and yourself. You can mold it with intention to be whatever you want to be. You can mold yourself, you can program yourself to be whatever you want to be, and it just takes intention and consistency to do that. And that's basically what I'm helping all of my clients, all my students, all the people who are learning from me how to do. I'm teaching you guys how to 100% rewire and reframe your self-image, and then use that to carry yourself in a way that is more attractive to the world. Not just sexually attractive, but just attractive in the sense of how you are attractive in just your demeanor and how you communicate, how you talk to people, how you connect with others, how you introduce yourself, how you walk into a store. Everything starts with how you carry yourself. And so start to chew on this concept of status and start to analyze areas in which you are exuding low status behavior and signals subconsciously through your subcommunication. Start to exude it so you can start to correct it. Maybe it's your posture. Start with your posture. Maybe it's your tone of voice. Maybe sometimes you gotta add a little. It's gonna sound funny, but you gotta add a little pimp juice. You gotta talk with a little bit of, you know what I mean? A little, pimp juice on what you're saying. Hi, how you doing? Yeah, my name is Leo Jakarta. What's your name? Like, I know it sounds kind of funny right now, but you gotta see it in action. But it's just like a certain thing, a certain vibe about how you're communicating. All these things, what I'm doing, it's high status signals. You know what I'm saying? It comes down to how you walk. And how you walk, how you're talking, how you introduce yourself, your facial expressions. There's so many aspects that people don't even understand or disregard and don't realize that if they just focus on these little things, they can automatically change the way that people view them. You can alter your reality, how people treat you and talk to you, simply by literally changing the way you carry yourself, how you carry yourself. And like I said, the way to do that is to identify high status behavior, high status signals, and low status behavior and low status signals that people exude in the world. Disregard fancy cars, fancy clothes, fancy all that stuff. I mean, maybe you could use it for an example, because you could say, man, well, look at that guy, he's wearing nice clothes. Maybe he's gonna have a certain way he's carrying himself. Maybe the clothes help him embody the self-image. A lot of people need that. But not everybody has access to that. But where do you start? You start by changing how you view yourself, and to start viewing yourself as a person who is high status. When you view yourself as a high status person, regardless of your resources or your connections in the world, you start to change the signals that you put out into the world. The subconscious subcommunication that we communicate in this civilized jungle of humanity, human beings, and how we interact and connect with one another. We're all assessing each other for status. It's like snap judgment, subconsciously. Consciously, you may not be thinking that, but subconsciously, you could be thinking, what kind of status does this person have? Subconsciously, the mind is constantly doing that. And this aligns with who we want to become friends with, how people treat us, what we attract, self-fulfilling prophecies, the way in which we communicate ourselves, the actions that we take, the way in which we take those actions. It all comes down to the self-concept of believing that you're high value, high status, this concept of status and value. And I believe that there's so much convoluted information on the internet that people are confused by it. And when people seek to exude higher status in a lot of ways, they're just like basically like putting a Band-Aid over their problem, or they're putting icing over like a cake that doesn't have anything in it. You know what I mean? Like, it's like there's no eggs, there's no sugar, it's just like, water and just the fucking batter and just like icing. And like the icing is like the external qualities. You have to have the foundational aspects, and that's your self-identity. How you view yourself will change the actions that you take, how you take those actions, how you present yourself in the simulation, in the world, how you introduce yourself, how you say your words. This is what makes somebody charismatic or not charismatic, magnetic or not magnetic, somebody who naturally attracts people to them, or somebody who kind of subtly repels people. People just don't want to be friends with that person because something about them communicates low status. And that's something that we have to start to uproot and recognize, so that we can essentially raise our own status in our minds about who we are. And we do that through the actions of how we carry ourselves. So start to embody high status communication, subcommunication. You can start practicing that now. Practice. Say for the next 1 hour, I'm gonna be a high status person. I'm gonna be high status. Everything I do, from how I talk to myself, how I put my clothes on, how I walk to the corner store, how I walk to the grocery store, how I walk to the bank or like in the bank, and how I order my food from the restaurant. Everything you're doing, do it from a high status perspective. How you're driving your car, how you look out the window, how you feel about yourself. Embody the concept that you are a high status person from the foundation, no matter what you have in your external world. Embody that first, and then you can start to cultivate and craft the charisma that you innately already have. You already have it. You just need to unlock it. You need to unlock it. That's really what we're doing, and this is what I'm going to help you do. So this has been a very, very, very powerful video because I know I touched on so many things, and I hope it resonated with you. I'm going to watch it back so that I can learn how to really give you guys the best value in the most palpable, understandable, and applicable way for your life so that you can apply this to your life. Because I'm applying it to my life, constantly applying it because, one, I already believe that I'm a high status individual. Whether or not me having millions of followers or millions of dollars, in my mind I already have those things. But it's like I believe in this way about myself, and this is why I have this confidence in myself to put myself out there. And there's so many times where when I was working a 9 to 5 and I was working I would say the shit position of the job, maybe I'm the janitor, maybe I'm a dishwasher, the cashier, the grunt work. For some reason, I remember, and now I'm able to pinpoint, I always exuded, even in those environments. Not always. I would say sometimes I would just naturally carry myself like a business owner, or just I was already successful, I was high status. And I recognize that even some people would be kind of thrown off by that because they would assume that because I'm working here and I'm in this position, they would assume that maybe my confidence and my enthusiasm wouldn't be there. My confidence would be whoa, and it's I would stand out. Where people who other coworkers who were in the same position, it's almost like they were threatened by that because it's wait, you're just a cashier. Why do you think you're so confident? Why? It's and that's where, people struggle because people are basically confused by the concept of confidence and belief in oneself. People think that they need to be validated by an external validation to give them a permission to be charismatic. Because, hey, maybe because you're a cashier or you're working at a low position in a cubicle or something like that, you can't carry yourself with charisma. You're not allowed to yet. You haven't been given the validation yet. And the number one thing you gotta understand is fuck all that. Fuck, you don't wait for society or the world to validate you and tell you how you can carry yourself. Regardless of how people want to treat you off the rip, a person of high status doesn't allow people to treat them disrespectfully, no matter where they are. Even if they're washing dishes or, they're actually, have external status that's viewed by the world, no matter what. You're not going to allow people to disrespect you. Someone who is low status will say, well, maybe I deserve it. Because because they believe they're low status. And low status people believe they deserve low status treatment. It's just it's a crazy thing, man. So identity is so powerful. It's kind of like a Jedi mind trick. It's a mind fuck. And I just want to get better at teaching this concept to people, because when you truly understand this and you can embody this, you can change your life. You can change so many aspects to your life. It's because it's what's changed my life. It's what's changing my life. I wouldn't even say the word change. Let's say the word improve. It's what's advancing my life. It's what's excelling every area of my life. In my life personally, it's every day in every way, I just feel like I'm getting better and better. And it's fucking amazing because I just believe and feel it's every day I just feel richer and more confident. And it's fucking wonderful, man. It's and I'll be looking in the mirror dude, isn't it fucking wonderful? Now that I've really started to really embody this, I have a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you watch me and follow me, you're gonna just over the next few weeks, next few months, next few years, you're gonna steadily see me just constantly improving as far as my views, external resources and relationships. It's my life is just, and I'm speaking this into existence, but I'm not only am I speaking into existence right now, but it's I'm seeing it happen in real time. The ability to improve your life. And I'm telling you right now, this is no joke. My life is getting better every single day, every single way, without even me really trying. It's just manifesting itself, and it's an upward cycle, and it's all stemming from how I see myself. At the end of the day, my self-image, my self-concept of me, my existence, my essence, your beingness, everything about you. And there's levels to this. First, it's taking on the identity of someone who is a high status person, no matter where you are in life. it's being sold on who you are as a person. And then it's another thing to do to really improve your self-image of yourself is to truly analyze your life, analyze where you've been, who you were, where you're at, who you are, and where you're going and who you're becoming, and falling in love with every aspect of it and reframing everything as a reason why you are a successful person now and you will become more successful in the future, no matter what the world tells you or what your environment is telling you. Overriding all that and falling in love with everything about you. You know, it's crazy. There's levels to this. It's like falling in love with everything about you, especially your past and who you've been. It's a certain degree of self-acceptance that's required. Accepting things about you. Maybe you're 5'3" and you're here, a 5'3" man, you know? Like, true core confidence comes through from like real self-acceptance of things about you that you really can't change. And just saying, you know what, this is where I'm at, this is who I was, this is who I am now, and you know what? It's all the reasons why I'm gonna become more successful. Everything is the reason why I will become more successful. All the things that limited you in the past, reframing your belief system and your perspective of those things as the reason why your life is getting better and better and better, and why you deserve success and why you're becoming successful and why it's making you successful, whether it made you stronger, made you more confident, whether it gave you more wisdom, no matter what it is, it's a reframing of your entire life. And this is the concept of going from a victor's mentality from a victim mentality to a victor's mentality. A victim says, my past was shit, and that's why I'm shit, and there's nothing I can do about it, and that's the way it is, and I just have to continue to focus on the past and see everything as a bad thing. And they stay in that, and they loop on that, and a lot of times it gets fucking difficult to pull these people out of that belief. A person with a victor's mentality is the same person who went through the same exact shit, the same exact bullshit that they went through in their past, whether it was mistakes or just unfortunate circumstances, and they look at everything that they've been through and they say, you know, everything that I've been through, every mistake that I've made is the reason why I will become a successful person. It's the reason why I'm successful now, because you know what? Now I have the wisdom, I have the strength, the persistence, the adversity, I have the diligence to keep pushing myself, to keep fighting. You know, I've been around the block, I've seen some shit, I've been through real shit, I've been through real problems, I've made mistakes. Like, understanding that and then reframing that as a positive. That's how you become somebody who has a victim mentality. And you do this consistently by constantly meditating on your past and reframing it as a positive. A lot of times when people are meditating on their past, they're thinking of all the fucked up things that they went through, the things that happened, the mistakes they made, the things that people did to them, and they loop on it and they focus on the negative aspects of it, and they focus on why maybe they're not happy and why life sucks. But someone with a victor's mentality looks at all those experiences, everything that you've been through, every mistake you may have made, and saying, this is why I am a success and will be a success. This is who I am. I believe this about me. And every time you want to think about a negative aspect of your life and where you've been, you have to immediately attack that. Immediately attack it with positivity. Immediately send forgiveness to people. You have to start forgiving people like crazy. And forgiveness is the concept of letting go. Letting go of all these things holding you back, because all this stuff is basically pulling your status down. You know what I'm saying? Pulling your status down. And status is like a bar, you know what I mean? You want to keep it hot. You don't want to bring it down. Victim mentality is pulling it down, pulling it down, pulling it down. Recognizing the words that you're saying about yourself, pulling it down, pulling it down. The body language that you're consistently exuding to the world, pulling it down, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, and it just works on itself, and then pretty soon that's just who you are, and it becomes difficult to break out of it. It's a phenomenon. It's a fucking phenomenon, ladies and gentlemen. But you know, I'm excited and thankful, and I feel so enthusiastic because you know what? I believe I believe and I know for a fact that I can really bring a lot of people good results. I've gotten people great results, and I just see myself getting more great results. I'm gonna have a lot more testimonials for you guys soon, because I feel like I've cracked the code, baby. Like I got this like secret knowledge. Like I'm like, yo, like damn. And a lot of times, sometimes it's you want to teach everybody, but not everybody. It's like the teacher appears when the student is ready. Sometimes people are not in a place in their life to be able to grasp simple complexities or simple concepts, because the way they're viewing the reality and viewing themselves, it's like it's not gonna land. It's not gonna stick. You know what I'm saying? But my message is for those people who truly. My message is for people who truly believe that they can grow as a person, they want to grow, they will do whatever it takes to evolve their paradigm, and they want to have these magnetic, charismatic characteristics. They have a dream and they want to accomplish it, and they realize that maybe the paradigm that they're at isn't quite adding up to the life that they want, and they want that, and they know that they need to create a new identity. And that's what I'm here to do for you guys. I'm not only here to fucking do it, I'm here to fucking rock and roll that shit, baby. Rock and roll it. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how I'm using that as a verb. We rock and rolling that shit. We making that effective. Making it stick. Boom. Pow. Indestructible. You know what I'm saying? So you really embody, and I believe this information can truly change someone's life. And the reason why I'm teaching this is because, you know, man, it goes back to when I was like fucking like third grade, second grade. I remember there was a kid who just didn't fit in when he was going to school, and like he struggled to fit in. And you know, I felt bad for the kid. You know what I'm saying? And I remember I wanted to help him. Like I was almost coaching back then in like third grade. I was like, well, you know what? I was like saying this stuff. It was like natural that I was talking about like how to be confident in yourself. Like I remember saying that stuff. Like, and it's kind of interesting because now I'm like, yo, like maybe my whole life I was meant to at some point become a coach and help people. And that's one reason why it's like I believe it's in my blood to do this. And then two, it's because I genuinely rejoice when I see people happy and confident and loving who they are. Like I genuinely rejoice. Like it's something in my mind, and I feel like I've been blessed. I've been blessed with this because it's like no matter where I've been at in life, whether I felt like I was up or down, no matter what I've been going through, it's like I've just naturally rejoiced in seeing other people feel good about themselves and being happy, and I love that. And I feel like it makes the world a better place, and I want people to have a good life. People deserve a great life. People deserve to have happiness and prosperity and abundance and love. And you know, I wouldn't wish a bad life on anybody. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, this is your life, man. This is what matters. You know what I mean? Like we never know where we're gonna go. And like so many aspects when it comes down to it, and it's like, man, I want people to have a good life, you know? I really do. I genuinely do. I want people to be happy. I genuinely don't like seeing people unhappy. I genuinely don't like seeing people suffering, struggling. I genuinely don't like, you know, meeting people who are in their 60s, 70s, and 80s, and they have, you know, just a list of regrets, and they're just depressed, and they feel like they just didn't live their life. And I'm like, man, like I don't want anybody to have that. And I want to help people. I want to help them, and I want to see people have a good life, and I want to see people succeed because I rejoice when people succeed, and I want people to do well. And so it's like I get off to it. I'm happy when it happens. And so I realize as a coach, I feel like I'm meant to do this. You know, I'm meant to do a lot of things, but I know I'm meant to do this because I believe God blessed me with this strange belief in my brain where it's so crazy, but it's very hard for me to get jealous of people. It's very difficult. Maybe I'll envy. I may see someone with a nice car and I'm like, man, I want that. Like that'd be fire. But like, it's so difficult for me to like hate somebody or dislike somebody or wish for someone to have misfortune just because they have fortune. Like a lot of people, you know, struggle with that. A lot of people struggle with that, the comparison game, and then kind of externalizing that lack they feel within and projecting, you know, anger towards people that have what they want. And it's like, I don't know how to just do that. I mean, we're all guilty of that, but like, I don't naturally do that. And I'm like, yo, I have to become somebody who helps people transform because I don't feel threatened by people's success. It's strange. It's strange. Now, you know, am I competitive? Yes. Do I feel envy sometimes? Yes. Do I want things that other people have? Yes. But it's like, I don't wish on anyone's downfall. And I realize that because of that, that is my character. And God has blessed me with this very beautiful character trait. I have to utilize that in the best way possible. And that is to be of service and to helping people prosper in life. That's a strong reason why I do what I do. And so I really believe in what I do. And I know that through this belief, I get people results. Because not only do they see my determination and they see that I actually care, but that shows them that, you know, they believe in themselves more. Sometimes people need a coach or someone who's going to, you know, encourage them. A lot of times people don't have support in their lives, man. That's a fucking problem in our world today. There's not enough support. There's not enough people cheering us on. There's not enough of that. You know what I'm saying? And then you know what? It's like, yo, I can be mad at the world, or I can say, you know what? Fine. If nobody wants to be that type of person, I'm gonna take the responsibility to be that type of person. A coach, someone who's rooting you on, a person who pumps you up, who believes in you and believes in your potential. You know what I'm saying? And doesn't look down on you. I'm not doing that. I don't want to do that. I want to see people succeed. I want to see people do well, and that's why I'm here. That's why God put me on this planet. So everything I do is an embodiment of helping you achieve your goals and dreams and live the best life that you possibly can. And if any way that I can do that, I'm here to do that. And it starts with our self-image, self-confidence, who we believe we are, what we believe we deserve, and understanding that we deserve the best, the highest of the highest. Understanding that you deserve the best. You deserve the best. You deserve a prosperous life. This is not bullshit either. Thank you. Thank you. I'm looking at this message. I'm like, bro, I'm in like a deep like motivational rant right here, and then you're just like, eh. You're funny, bro. Thank you for you know, adding some comedic relief to the movie. You know what I mean? Because, you know, we all need a laugh sometimes. You know what I'm saying? We could all use a laugh. But I want you all to win. I want you all to be successful. Watch this whole video and take notes if you really want to learn, because I put some fucking fire gems in this video. And maybe I was jumping around a lot. I'm going to get better at my organization skills so I can teach better. But man, did I put some fucking fire gems in this video. It's a fucking 67-minute video. Fire gems. If you truly want to learn about what I'm talking about, start from the beginning. And, you know, I'm going to cut this video up. Maybe you don't have all the time in the world, but I'm telling you, if you truly desire to become more magnetic, more confident, more charismatic, I'm telling you, gems, applicable gems, new mindsets, things you've never thought before. I'm telling you, you will be mind blown, and it will change your life. It will change your life if you listen, take notes, and you think about it, extrapolate the information. You know what I'm saying? Extrapolate it. I don't know if that's a real word. Extrapolate it and apply it to your own beliefs. I'm telling you, to change your life. Gems. Gems. When I say gems, I'm talking about Jim Carrey. I'm talking about Gold's Gym. I'm talking about Jim Henson, the guy that, you know, made the Muppets. What other famous gyms are there? A lot. Planet Fitness. Jimmy Neutron. You know what I'm saying? Gyms, dog. Diamond gyms. Not no cubic zirconia, no fake shit, dog. I'm talking about the real gyms. Blood diamonds, dog. But for real. You know what I'm saying? Real gyms, dog. The big bezel. You feel me? But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a pleasure to serve you. I appreciate all of you for watching. I will be back because ain't nothing stopping this. Nothing stopping me, bro. This is divine order, baby. This is God's plan. We live in full effect. We live in full effect, ladies and gentlemen. So let's rock and roll, skis. Let's get it popping. Some more success. Let's do this. Peace.